Okay then, this is a second look at the retro game RS-97. You may have seen my initial look at it, which was how it performs and what it does straight out of the box. And I concluded that it was a very interesting item, flawed, but I liked it. But I think a lot of people were like, I'm not going to pay £40 for that because the flaws are quite serious. And they are. What I liked was its ability to play arcade games like CPS 1 and 2, Neo Geo, that kind of thing. And it did that really quite well. Other things, not so good. But there is custom firmware for it, called... The name actually of the firmware is Useless RS-97. It is a version of Dingux, Open Dingux. It's like a Linux variant for the Dingu, and I guess that's been kind of modified or whatever for this. But anyway, I've installed that. We'll fire this up, and you can have a look. See, there is a video on how to install this firmware on Retro Rob's page on his YouTube channel. I will put a link to that down in the area down there somewhere. There will be people who may wonder, why don't I do an instruction video on how to install the operating system? Simple answer to that is I couldn't tell you anything Rob doesn't tell you, and he does it very effectively, and I don't want to steal his thunder. I'm not going to be able to do it better than him, so I'll just direct you to his video. Okay, this thing has timed out, so let's just start it up again. Yeah, what I will say when it comes to installing the firmware is follow Rob's instructions very closely and be very, very sure to follow his instructions on how to alter the size of the partitions on your micro SD card. If you get that wrong and use the wrong option to resize it, like I did twice, you will destroy your micro SD card, or rather, you won't destroy it, but you will render it unreadable. Which is not what you want. I did that twice, and I have to thank my friend Andre from Twitter, Freaky for God, how do you Freaky for yeah, I got to thank him because he gave me the instructions on how to fix my micro SD card. I'm debating whether to post instructions like the DOS commands that you put in the command prompt. The risk being if you get that wrong you can destroy your PC, and I don't want you destroying your PC because I posted some commands and you didn't do it right. Yeah. Basically, follow Rob's instructions very carefully and pay attention, otherwise you knack your SD card. So anyway, having said all of that, what do you get on this here new firmware? Quite a lot actually. Out of the box, you just had... Well, watch the video that shows you out of the box. Basically, it was very, very pick up and play. It was all pre-configured, the games were all on it, the emulators were all on it, they were all ready to go, you turned it on and you played. Badly, sometimes. This is a different kettle of fish altogether. This is like a whole bundle of stuff. And it comes in different categories. You've got these like utilities. You've got a file manager, you will need to use that a lot. Video player, I haven't even used that, I haven't got any videos on here. Text editor, I don't know why you would want to do that on a thing like this, but it's there if you want it. Mod editor, I don't, no idea. Can't read that like that. Image viewer, yep. And file browser, I don't know. Yeah, I guess I would use the file manager, but maybe they do different things. And then you've got all your emulators. We'll have a look at that in a minute. Then you've got some native... well, are they native to this here system? Are they native to ARM based Linux, or are they native to the Dingu and happen to run on here? I don't know. We'll have a look at them later. And then you've got, there's more. Come on, what have I locked? There we go. The final thing is like options for the console itself. Settings, yeah, appearance, a little bit about the system, and how to turn it off basically, if you don't just want to press the power button. So we'll go back to, we won't look at all of these things because they're what they are. Emulators, lots of them. Not all of them work out of the box. Some of them you have to configure, some of them you have to obtain and install BIOS files. And some of them just plain work. None of them, unlike how this thing came, out of the box, you could play games on this. It had 3,000 plus games on board. You turned it on and you played. This thing, no. You've got emulators, some will work straight away, some won't, but you've got to obtain your own ROM files for them. So even if you don't have to configure them and insert BIOS files here and there, you've still got to get your own ROM files. Having said all of that, what works and what doesn't, and what is what really. Amiga 500, I have not been able to make this work. I understand what you're meant to do, and I am failing. It is objecting, it's saying it needs a kick ROM, the Kickstarter file, in a particular place. There are many different versions and variants of the Kickstarter BIOS file thing on Tinterwebs, and I have tried many, and I have tried putting them where it's asking for it, where other people are saying to put it, using different naming conventions, all kinds of stuff. I cannot make it work. And I like to think I know how to make Amigas work, but I can't make this one work. Amstrad CPC. This it sort of works, but I can't. I'm having trouble with this one. I can make it load the. I can't even see where. There we go. I can't make it run the software. I will make it. I can like insert the disk, but then I don't know. Also, exiting is not so easy either. Can't remember how to exit. The thing with this and the emulators on here. I had a text file on my, there it is, that tells you how to get back out of some of these emulators. They don't seem to. Alright, press select button to menu, exit, press B plus, but what? That doesn't make sense. Okay, so that is a thing on here. Oh, come on. There we go. Oh God, I don't know what I did. There are lots of emulators and they don't use standard conventions, like how you get out of one emulator is not how you get out of another. And so you can find yourself doing like I'm doing. And it's pretty bloody annoying, to be honest. So if I'm honest, if you're going to take this anywhere, like you're going to go on, you want something to play on the bus, take a paperclip with you and make good use of it. Because sometimes you just can't get out of the emulator. They're just, what does it say, press select button to menu, but it wasn't taking me to the menu. So that's the Amstrad CPC one. I can't make that one do what I want it to do. It sort of starts doing it, but then it won't run the program. So anyway, Atari 2600 emulator. Trying to remember what buttons, but here we go. Peering over the camp. Oh, yeah, this works very nicely. This pleases me. Oh dear, unlike my driving, which displeases me greatly. I can't decide whether to peer over the camera or... Anyway, that's enough of that. How do we exit that? Like that. You're not getting instructions from me on how to use these emulators. I'm just showing you whether they work or not. So that works. Now, Atari 800 and 5200 emulator. That is patchy. I can make the Atari 800 stuff work. You will need to find a BIOS file for it, or there's a set of files, and you have to put them into the right folder, and I can't remember where that is. So you will need to find, if you're going to get one of these and you're going to install this custom firmware, you will need to do a lot of Googling to find out what to put where. Don't ask me, because I have forgotten, and I'm not going to Google it for you. I've done an awful lot of messing up. You might have noticed there is a big gap in terms of time between the previous video and this video. All of that time, in my spare time, I have been fiddling with this thing to try and make it work, to, you know, make as many emulators work as well as I can get them to work. It's a lot of messing about. Load ROM. So I've done an awful lot of messing about, and I can't remember a great deal of what I did. So if you ask me, how do I make this run? I can't tell you, because I don't remember, because I did so many different things. This will run, does it run bin files? It certainly, I think, runs ATR files. Here we go. Not sure what's the best angle to have. God, it's just so... I've got a window behind me. This is not Moon Patrol. How do I... oh. I don't like that game. I thought it was going to be Moon Patrol, but it's not, so... Pole position, we'll play that. Focus camera. How do we start? That'll do. Okay, it's auto accelerate and then B to brake. And how do we change gear? Okay, up and down to change gear, I think. There is a gear indicator somewhere, I can't... Yes, I see it. So this works quite well. The game is looking choppy, but I just think that's how it is. Probably on a real 800. I have played this on a real 800, and I seem to recall it being a lot like this. So yeah, that works. Really is a case of find the BIOS file, put it in the right folder, and just run the Atari 800 games. Don't even bother with the 5200, it won't work. Atari 7800. I always go to Donkey Kong on this, and it might not actually... No, it's not going to give the best impression. When it loads, please load. Has it crashed? It does that. I've got a funny little... Oh, here we go. Load ROM. What's it doing? There we go. The sound is... Actually, that's not sounding as bad as it sounded last time I played it. I played it yesterday and it sounded pretty bloody awful. Oh! Now it's kind of... It's a bit brassy, I think is a word I would use to describe it, but it's not sounding crunchy like it did yesterday. So that works. We don't want to spend too much time on that. Come on, let me out. There. Atari 7800 works. Atari Lynx. Where's my file? I'm saying awesome. Where's... Oh, there. Checkered flag. I'm just going for ones that I know I can pick up and play easily. Can't remember what the controls are, can't see what I'm doing, but that works very nicely. It's got that annoying fake scan line thing, which actually, while I hate fake scan lines as a rule, I think on an Atari Lynx emulator they're kind of authentic, because the screens on those handhelds are so bad, so low res, that this does not look dissimilar to how it would look on the real thing with the scan lines. They were so... I'd say they're the worst screen, but they're not the worst screen. The Game Gear has a worse screen, and then of course there's the Gamecom, but that's a whole order of magnitude. Like, that doesn't really qualify as a screen. That's more of a portal to hell. Okay. Atari St. I haven't done anything with that. I haven't even attempted to load it. I'm not going to. I'm honestly not interested in Atari St, and I wouldn't know how to set it up or what to do with it. It's like, I'm an Amiga person, and I've got one, and I just don't care. I used it to make videos, and I have never turned it on since. I keep it for historical purposes because it's part of my collection. But I don't want to emulate an ST. Oh, BBC Micro. This is it is not completely straightforward in terms of you can make it run the games very easily. You just do what you would think you would do. You load the file and away it goes. The difficult bit is in making it respond to the keyboard. Or the buttons. Mapping the keyboard to the buttons is not... Yeah. It's forgotten my slow down command already. I should be able to slow down and I can't. So that's a bit annoying. I love Starship Command. Just like a real BBC, it's too bloody loud. There. Why won't you slow down, you arsehole? Oh. I love this game. You probably can't even see it with all the glare on the screen. Yeah, it is possible to make this thing work. Trying to angle the thing so you can see without too much reflection. There we go. This is my second favourite game, maybe third favourite game on the BBC or Acorn Electron. First being Elite, second being Exile. But yes, I would say this comes in at number 3 for me. It's unique. It's not on any other system that I'm aware of. It's just bloody brilliant. And the fact that you can play it on this here portable handheld booster, it's just great. Yeah, it's forgotten all of my button mappings. It remembers the fire button, but that's all. That's quite annoying, actually. I've ejected, I think. No, I haven't ejected. I'm just going to blow up. Okay. Can't remember how to that's how to turn it off. Or quit. Exiting emulation is often the case of either pressing these two buttons or pressing the shoulder buttons together, or the shoulder buttons together with the A button, or one of these buttons, or it's all about key combinations. There is a web page somewhere that I have lost that has a list of the hotkey combinations for exiting emulation, but it is by no means complete. Yeah. Said something about GP2X there. So this here thing is like a development of what it went GP2X Dingu, I think, was a development that went on from there, and this like follows on from the Dingu, I think. So it's like an ancestor of one of those game park handhelds. Commodore emulator. Oh, this is funny. Okay, Vice will, as far as I know, emulate the Commodore 64, obviously. VIC-20. I'm not sure about C16. I think it will emulate the PET. I haven't tried that. The only one I've tried so far is the Commodore 64. And I can't remember how I did it. There we go. Auto start image. Now, where did I put them in 64? I think I might have. Oh, where did I put them? Where did I put them? No, I didn't get 64 ones. Okay, now, it will auto load when you select it. But that does not mean instant loading. I can't remember if that's a tape file or a disk file, but yeah, press play on tape, searching, found Buggy Boy. Sit back, make a cup of tea, because you know how long it takes to load a Commodore 64 game on tape? That's what happens here. It's using an overload thing, so that's fast loading, right? Yeah. Okay. I'm going to edit, because this is authentic emulation of tape loading. It takes bloody ages. See it counting down? That ain't even, that's loading the loader. That's not loading the game. That's loading Nova Loader. Is the kettle on? Put it on. Not kidding. Now it's loading. Yep. I'm going to stop the tape. Tape? We're not using tape. You know what I mean. I'm going to pause the video and then start recording again when it's loaded. That's going to be about 10 minutes from now. I'm not going to keep it recording for that long. Okay, here we are. It has loaded. Can I remember how to make it go? Yes, I think I can. The first time I did this, I pressed the wrong button, and after waiting 10 minutes for it to load, I exited back to the emulator, because I'm real clever like that. Which button to go? Please. Up to go. Yay. So this is great. Very good emulation as far as I'm concerned. I imagine you don't have to load from tape. I imagine you can load disk files, which are moderately faster than tape. I don't know if there's like a turbo load thing, maybe. You know, like the Epix cartridge thing. Fast loader thing. Got one of those on my real Commodore, and it makes a world of difference. Are there cartridge files you can load on here? I don't know. I've spent the week just making things work. You know, I don't know the finer points of what you can do with these emulators. I just want them to load a game and function. There we go, I failed. How do we exit? Like that. So that's Vice. ColecoVision, that works. Load ROM. Okay. Okay, this now that's not what I wanted to do. We don't want... Oh, alright, we'll go with that anyway. One player only, push any key. Yeah, because we don't have to... The thing with the ColecoVision is you have to push a number button to tell it how many players or what, whoops, or whatever. And then you've got to pull up... I couldn't remember how to do it. You've got to pull up a keypad thick... Whoops. I need to find the jump button. There's the jump button. Yeah. Key combination to pull up the number pad to select how many players, and I couldn't remember how to do it. So am I meant to catch the fish or avoid the fish? I don't know. Oops, fell down a hole. Yeah, the ColecoVision thing works. Load... That's what I wanted to do now. God. I should do this at night time, but if I do it at night time, it's going to be a day later. Oh. There we go. It seems kind of slow, but I think that's just because we're used to it on, say, the NES or MAME. I am, anyway. But this is... I remember being gobsmacked that this ran this well on the ColecoVision back in the day when ColecoVisions appeared in the shops. And I thought, wow, that's amazing. So then when quite a lot of years later I saw this running on... Oh, you bastard. I saw this running on the NES many years later when the NES was a new thing and on sale in Boots. I was like, why are they selling this now? This is ancient, this is old hat. What's the bloody point? They did this Donkey Kong years ago. What's the point? It's an expensive piece of junk, was what I concluded about the NES, and I'm pushing the wrong button. Anyway, that's that. So that's the ColecoVision. That runs well enough. DOSBox, I haven't used it, haven't tried it, no idea. I've never actually used DOS in my life. I don't know how to do DOS. I'm not doing DOSBox. Dumb SNES. Try Pocket SNES before this one. Yeah, it looks great at this point. Everything seems hunky-dory. And then, yeah, we're off. That's great. Love those graphics. So that doesn't work. It might work on other games, but it sure as hell doesn't work on that. I'm not even going to try Yoshi's Island. To me, it's like, if it won't run Mario Kart, I don't care about it. Final Burn Alpha. Marvellous. This CPS1, CPS2, Neo Geo. There is a Neo Geo emulator on here. I don't use it because Final Burn Alpha does it all just fine anyway. Some stuff it won't do. It tries to do the Sega Super Scaler games, and it runs them, but it runs them badly. Some games it runs... I haven't run that yet. Dodonpachi. That's usually a good one to test. I bet this is going to turn it vertical. Some emulators like MAME, it will just sort of letterbox, well not letterbox, it'll give you black bars down the side to do the, this, or is this just going to go dir? It might be it's just going to go dir. Yeah, that's not going to work. It is a learning process with this. When you're putting your own ROMs on, you don't know what's going to work and what's not. This thing is of limited ability. It's not like running a modern Android device. Some stuff it's just going to struggle with. Insert coin. That didn't half sound like Godzilla to me. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, we'll go. Let's put it like that. You go over there. You come here, or not, whatever. Don't know what that is just there. Yeah, that works. How do you exit? Don't know. Like that. Top two shoulder buttons and the start button. Continue, exit, we'll exit. Commando. Oh, was it Commando or was it Mercs? Yeah, here we go. It's kind of alright having it vertical like that, but having to... It's authentic in terms of screen orientation. It's just a pain in the ass having to find the right button to... Oh, I'm chucking bloody grenades. Oh, you Burke. They were grenades. No wonder I wasn't doing very well. There we go. And I don't want to be using my right hand for the D-pad. That's just not right. It does. So then I've got to hold it like that. It's not ideal. Screen orientation, good. Controller, not so much. And it will do a lot of that. So, yeah. Final Burn Alpha. It runs well, mostly, unless you ask too much of it in terms of what game you want to play. Yes. It's good, but there are aspects of it that I'm not thrilled about. Game Boy. There are two Game Boy emulators on here. One is good and one is not so good, and I can't remember which is which. Love it. You will see when we get there that this doesn't do that annoying glitchy thing down the side here when you move. Well, I seem to punch him whilst not facing him, which is novel. Walk a little bit. There you go, no glitching. That, to me, is just fine. I'm happy with that. So, we've got another Game Boy emulator. Oh boy. Game Boy Color. When the other one is so good, do we need another one? Let's have a looky-see. That one, much the same actually. Colour looks slightly different. It's slightly sort of sepia tinted. This one, it's not as loud. This one I tinkered with. I modified the scaling because it was like playing on a postage stamp. So this is not entirely how it... Spat on my screen, that's not good. Visually I actually prefer the colour of this. Let's see if this does the annoying scrolly glitch thing. Come on, punch him. Punch him. Yeah, that's alright I think. Yeah, you go over there. Have a nap. Yeah, scrolling's fine. What do we got next? Game Boy Advance. We've got two Game Boy Advance emulators here. Re-GBA and GPSP. Re-GBA is allegedly meant to be the better one, but I can't make it work. As you will see, I come to wherever my ROMs are, and we'll just load up the first one, and it reads it, and it it just dumps us straight back to the menu. So that's annoying. So that one, you don't need to put a BIOS in it, but if it doesn't work, who cares? This one, GPSP, it requires a BIOS file, and you need to put it in the right place. Can't remember what can't remember what it's called and can't remember where it goes. So if you're going to do this, Google it. It's not difficult. Now there's only one game I want to test here. Now remember what it was like out of the box. I played Mario Kart Super Circuit, and while the game played okay, the sound was bad. How does this compare? This is like playing a Game Boy Advance. I didn't want to do that. Oh well, with Mario anyway. That's good. I always play as Mario. When I remember to choose who I'm going to be. You can see some funny... I don't know if you can see that, but I can see that. There is some texturing kind of filtery effect thing going on the screen. You can't see that in person, that's the camera doing that, because difference of resolution between the camera and the screen. They call it moire effect or something, whatever. But this is like... It's like playing it on a GBA. It's lovely. Very happy with that. Sound is fine, graphics are fine, speed is fine. Perfectly acceptable. Kind of makes... You could think you were playing... Actually, was the Revo K101 any good? People have informed me, like, This here RS-97 is using the Revo K101 shell, but the hardware inside it is entirely different. Though interestingly, they're using the GBA game cartridge interface to put the micro SD card in. I don't know why they've done that. Maybe because they're using the Revo K101 case and it had that slot there, so they made use of it. Or very strange, don't know, whatever. It works, I like it, I'm very pleased with that. Can I exit? Oh, well that quits from that, but I want to quit from the... How do I exit the emulator? Like that. X and Y together. Okay, we looked at that. MAME. Start. There we go. Right, okay. So, this works, and it works quite nicely. But what it won't do, you can't be too adventurous with this. I love this game. Oh, I've pushed the bloody slow-mo button. You get one of those. It's like you don't get a smart bomb, you get this button that slows everything down, and I pushed it by mistake right at the start. Bad move. This game in the arcades has a really, really heavy booming bass sound. You can't hear it on this here little handheld because it's got super mega high pitched sound. So anyway, how do we... Can't remember how we... that's how... No, that's not how... How do we get out of the... Can't remember. Didn't want to do that. Well, let me out, please. I'm used to using MAME on Android and on PC, and I like it a lot. And it works on here well, up to a point. There are some games it just won't run. It won't run Defender. You can forget about your sprite scalers from Sega. They're just not going to happen. But some games, it's... I'm looking at... I'm looking at my computer screen now and trying to see how to get out of MAME. Is it on my list of... can't see it on there. Oh, no, no it's not. Okay. Not sure if this is running at completely full speed. It seems to be actually. That seems quite playable. Yeah, there's the fire button. Whoa, whoa. I'm not paying attention here. Oh, I love this game. iRobot kicks ass. It's a bit enthusiastic with the jumping and how far... Oh, come on, stop that. It seems to move a little bit too far. It's like you... And it's not responding to the forward button now. Why is it... Okay. Oh, I'm stupid. Jump, you fool. No jump... Where's my jump button? No jump. Okay. Yeah. Configure... Okay, jump that time. What? Oh, and died. Alright. Configurations on here seem a little... iffy. How do I exit, please? Okay, both shoulder buttons and the start button. That gets you out of that. No, that's just got us back into this menu, hasn't it? Left and right to exit. There we go. Master System. There's a Mega Drive emulator on here as well, which also runs Master System. I haven't actually tried that. I suspect it might be better. Here we go. Sound is not great. I'm not keen on the sound. It's kind of crunchy, the sound. I've got it all the way up volume wise, and it's quite quiet, so not entirely thrilled with that. This also runs Game Gear as well, which there we go. Okay, get on with it. Oh, that's quiet as well. Volume is all the way up. Yeah. Equally crunchy sounding. Seems to work well enough. Speed is decent, smooth and everything in terms of movement and whatever. Just doesn't sound great and is a bit quiet. Now, Mega Drive and Master System. This is Pico Drive. And the thing with Pico Drive is it doesn't just run Mega Drive. It runs 32X on a PC or an Android system. But, well, you'll see. You see that? I've got strip lighting in this room. It's a strange place this is that I'm living in. This must have been an office once upon a time. Yeah. It runs, but you wouldn't play it. American version, 60 frames a second, allegedly. Doesn't that sound better? Loads better. That absolutely kicks the arse off of the default Mega Drive emulator that came on the standard firmware. That, while it ran okay in terms of speed and graphics and stuff, the sound was... Actually, no, the sound was... no, I'm talking rubbish. It ran okay, didn't it? It was one of the decent emulators. It was just when you ran it on the TV that it wasn't great. Now, I haven't tried running this on the telly, and I have seen videos that suggest it has problems on the telly, so we will look into that as we get further into this video. But at the moment, Mega Drive on here, excellent. Let's try a Master System game on it. It also apparently runs Mega CD games very adequately. I haven't got any Mega CD games on here at the moment, so I can't test that. Does that sound better? I think it does, doesn't it? Yes, that's a lot better than the other one. The screen is smaller, but that's because the Master System is, I think, lower resolution, and rather than scaling it, they've just made it smaller, and it... That's better. Yeah. Pico Drive for the Master System on here, definitely preferable. MSX, haven't tried it, don't know, couldn't tell you. I don't know if you need BIOSes or anything, I just haven't looked into it. Neo Geo, I haven't got any Neo Geo files on here that will work. I did put some on it, but it said they were too old, so meh. It won't run the Final Burn Alpha Neo Geo ROMs. So I don't see a need for this when Final Burn Alpha on this system works so well anyway. So yeah, don't care about that. Neo Geo Pocket. Ooh, look at that. So it's going to give us a tiny screen, but you get this, like the can't put a sentence together. I don't know that is that good or not, having that outer border area showing the console? I don't know. I've never Have I seen anything like that before? Do I have control over that? Can I do anything about that? No, it seems I can't. That's unusual, but it works. It works quite well. I think I would like a bigger screen though. I suppose they've done that because the Neo Geo Pocket Color is a low resolution screen and they're just, rather than scaling it, giving you like 1:1 resolution and then using up the extra pixels with the border. Novel. Okay. NES. I'm not a fan of the NES, but I do like this game. Yeah, we okay. Glitchy much? I guess it doesn't matter on that particular bit. That looks nice. I think this might be my favourite NES game, even when I do that. Oh dear. There we go. NES works. That's just... I don't want to play anymore. How do I exit? Please! I want to get out of this. Okay. What do you got next? ONS Scripter. I have no idea what that is. Not a clue. I've never even actually... Let's launch it and see what it does. Nothing. Okay, cool. We won't bother with that then. Open Arcade Emulator. I know nothing about this either. Open? What? Yeah, no. Oh yeah. So it's got pictures of the screencast, that's PCFX and all those. That's an Xbox, there's no way to see them. Don't know X to quit. Yeah, that doesn't. Oh, it does. Okay. Well, the quit button works. I've got no idea what that is. PC-98. I've got nothing on that. I don't know anything about it. That's a Japanese system, isn't it? I ain't got any of that. PC Engine. There we go. Brightness is not... Can't change brightness in game. That's unfortunate. Though, that's just the angle I'm holding it at. This, it's got a fairly shallow viewing angle on this. Though I do find that the angle you have to hold it at is absolutely perfect. So that, for the most part, it doesn't matter. Though I don't know. For the camera, the viewing angle is not like there. There. Look at that. That's what I'm talking about. So anyway, yes, PC Engine Emulator works just fine. Can I remember how to get out of it? No, I cannot. That button, the power button. PlayStation Emulator, PCSX for all. I have heard reports that it functions slowly. You might get some 2D games to work. Forget about 3D. I haven't got any ISOs on here to even try it because I just think no. If it won't do 3D, I don't care about it. Pokemon Mini Emulator, no idea, never tried it, not about to, don't care. ScumV, haven't tried that either. This, from what I understand, it works well. It does your like point and click adventures, Monkey Island, all that kind of thing. Super NES, right, okay, here we go. Pocket SNES Emulator, well, yay. Yeah, we would expect it to work just fine at this point. It's when we get to the start of the race. What is the frame rate going to be like? It works, but I've got frame skip set on here. It was on auto frame skip and that was not ideal. It's like you can have your sound working right but the graphics are jerky, or you can have your graphics right but your sound is crunchy, awful, broken and stuff. This is about as good as you're going to get it, and it's not perfect. It's playable but it's kind of disappointing. It is better than the default SNES emulator that came with this handheld out of the box. It's better than that, but not much. Not a lot. I imagine all the 2D stuff will work just fine. It's when it gets onto your mode 7. Starwing, don't know about whether it will give up. Oh, probably should, yes. Don't know how to get out of there. That's how to get out of that. Exit pocket snares. Intro nonsense. Didn't want training. Burp. Well, the sound's a bit crunchy, but there's the fire button. Oh, no, don't do that, you muppet. Okay, that's working. It's choppy, but then it always was kind of choppy. Yeah, you can tell from the sound that it's not. Yeah, it's not as bad as it could have been. It's not great, but, you know, sort of semi-functional. Okay. But we'll have a look at this. This looks like it might be better than like when I tried it on the default emulator. Yeah, that's not terrible. That is better than the default emulator that comes with it out of the box. Yeah. Not awful. Okay, that's pleasing. So yeah, the SNES emulator, it's not perfect by a long shot, but it could be worse. Atari 2600, stellar emulator. It works. It does pretty much what the other one does, the first one that we tried. Though I think I prefer the first one to this one. What's the start button? There we go. Oops. Quite loud, this one. I'm not sure about the colours. Is that purple meant to be purple? I don't remember. But it works, and that's cool and pleasing. But we don't need it because we've got another one on here already. Wonderswan. I only have one game on Wonderswan. Yeah, get on with it. And this. Okay. I don't remember. I've played this on other emulators. I have a Wonderswan, but I don't have this game for it, which is a shame because the games I have for it I can't really get on with. Well, one I can't because it's in Japanese and I can't read it, and the other one I'm just not interested in it. Some puzzle game. I don't know how this compares with a real Wonderswan in terms of frame rate, smoothness. It's kind of choppy, but it's also kind of impressive as well. So I think if I'd had this back in the day, having played Game Boy games and then played this, I'd be like, wow, it's pretty cool. Yeah. Would have been nice to have been okay, Wonderswan colour, final lap, special. It's going to be final lap in colour. Start button. I don't recall. Oh god, I picked manual transmission. Oh, the other one was as well, wasn't it? So whatever. Yeah, I think the black and white one was actually is easier to play if memory serves. But memory doesn't always serve, so who knows. That's working. I don't know performance wise, frame rate wise and all that. Can't remember. Player wise, bloody terrible. They've all just romped off into the distance. I'm never going to see them again. Yeah, okay. Retire. I wish I could. I might be old, but I'm not that old. So, yep, the very last one, and this for me is actually it's the BBC Micro on here that for me is the winner. Having this on here, it's like, now this will load up, then I've got to find the keyboard. Oh bollocks, I didn't want to do that. There is a keyboard control, but I can't remember what it is. And if I press the wrong button, we wind up doing something. Okay, so I want 4, and then I want 5, and then I want to remember how to get rid of it. And up there. How did I get? There we go. Oh god. Yeah, I'm doing great. But it works. It's just going to take me a minute to oops. Anyway, jetpack. Losing focus. Great, thank you. That's what happens when you play high contrast games with small sprites on things that are near to your camera. So that's that. That's all of the emulators. Now, we have other stuff on here. We have native whatever this thing is games, which largely I haven't tried. A lot of them I'm just not interested in. I only actually just noticed Arkanoid. So let's have a quick look at that. There are 2 games on here that I do want to take a look at. Start. Yes, please. Oh yeah. I do like Arkanoid. I think it's a great game. This is working very nicely. It seems... Yay. I mean, is this... It's not running under emulation, is it? This is native. So, cool, like it. Not quite sure about the audio quality there. How do we get out of this? Like that. Oh. There. Cool. Chocolate Doom. Now, with this, you do have to provide your own Doom WAD. But if you've got a Doom WAD, this plays a very competent game of Doom. Shoulder buttons to sidestep. That's actually really nice. The frame rate, you probably can't see because of all the reflections. Duh. Yeah. Very acceptable. I like that. I can't remember how to get that. Probably don't even need it. Here, each shotgun, if I can find the button to fire. Can't really see because I'm looking through the camera viewfinder, or was, now I'm peering back over the top. Yeah, that is really good. I mean, it certainly plays... The first time I ever played Doom was on the 32X, and I need a key for that, don't I? And this is playing it better than that 32X version in terms of frame rate and stuff. Some kind of Duke Nukem 3D. Yay.
Yeah, piece of cake.
Yeah, because I'm a wuss. So this runs nicely. I'm not actually a Duke Nukem fan. And maybe that's heresy or something, but Clint will be so disappointed in me. if he watches this, which he probably won't, because I'm sure he's a busy man, but you know. How do you sidestep? Oh, you B button to sidestep. Can't remember. All kinds of stuff. How do you open the door? Whatever. What's that? Oh, this is the way in then. Maybe. Yeah. Like that. There we go. Anyway, I'm not here to play the game, I'm just here to demonstrate the handheld, so we'll quit. Pang, don't know what that is, don't know. Yeah, Quake. This is like a shareware version of Quake or something like that. Single player, new game. Just the fact that it's on here and it works impresses me, I think. How cool is that? I don't know where I'm going or what I'm doing or anything. I never played Quake back in the day because it was a PC game and I had an Amiga. So, yay. So Quake is a game I have never actually spent any significant amount of time playing. You, die, please. Ask nicely. Hurry up and die. What's round here? Yeah, love Doom, and I mean I know Quake is technically superior and blah blah blah, but really? Meh. What do we got? Things and stuff. Alright. So that's on here. I think that's cool that it's on here. Rockbot. Why is it a trial game? Why is it a trial? No. Shift here. War Games, lots of stuff. Thing. Yeah, so there is a lot of native stuff on here. That is a lot of games. Okay, for the emulators you've got to provide your own ROMs, but you can fit an awful lot of ROMs on there. What can I say about this in conclusion? The standard out-of-the-box handheld is good for someone who just wants to play games and doesn't want to mess about, but it is flawed because the emulators they installed on it are largely a bit crap. Some of them are good, some of them really aren't. They should have put in more effort. The emulators they chose should have been better. And then it would have been a fantastic out-of-the-box thing for someone who doesn't want to mess around with technical stuff but wants to play lots of games on the go. Would have been brilliant and would have been worth the money, because like £40, yeah. But they didn't. They chose some half-assed emulators and made a mess of it, and that's a shame. So people who like to mess around on a technical level can take this thing apart, install new firmware onto the micro SD card, put it all back together again, and you get this lot. And it is a much more interesting thing. It does an awful lot more. What it isn't is done and dusted and sorted and playable straight out of the box. You have got to be prepared to mess around. The whole hacking it in the first place is a stressful thing to do. It's a fiddly thing to take apart, it's a fiddly thing to flash the firmware, it's a fiddly thing to get the SD card back in and to register that it's there. It's very sensitive to the micro SD card not being seated properly, and if it's not seated properly it'll just sit there going duh. And you're sitting there thinking, have I put on the wrong firmware, have I corrupted my card, or is it just not in there properly? Very, very frustrating and stressful, and it made me swear a lot. So it is something you've got to put in a lot of hard work to get the most out of this. But once you've done that, once you've configured it, put in BIOS files, installed all your ROMs, it is fascinating and cool, and it's for £40 it does a lot. I suppose if I was to compare it to another existing system, it's still not up there with your Android things. It does not compare on a technical level with something like the GPDXD. Whole different world. Android is more logical and user-friendly. And if you are a person who can't get on with Android, you're not going to get on with this, because this is clunky in comparison. What this compares to in terms of performance is a PSP, in terms of how it works, putting stuff on it, making stuff work. I don't know how emulation has evolved on the PSP since I last set up emulators on my PSP Go. I haven't looked into it since then. This thing seems to beat that on some things, like MAME. This seems to have a better MAME than it had on the PSP when I was doing it, which was quite a few years ago. Neo Geo and CPS and like Final Burn Alpha seem to just able to run more demanding games than my PSP did, but things might have moved on there since then. I don't know. But what the PSP can do that this can't is run PS1 very adequately. This, well, I haven't even bothered because I've seen other people do it and I just couldn't be bothered. £40, I don't know. I'm pretty sure you can get a PSP second hand for that. This is brand new, but the PSP's probably got better battery life as well. I mean, I don't know really. I like it. It's a thing to mess around with. But if you were only going to have this or a PSP, which should you have? Well, I leave that up to you because I couldn't answer a thing like that. This with the custom firmware is a tinkering enthusiast's machine. It's not, you don't just pick it up and play it. It takes an amount of dedication. Straight out of the box, it's flawed. I still like it. Given that you can have it either way, you know, a pick up and play but flawed, or tinker with it and have it do a whole load of stuff, I really do like it. But if you do decide to get one of these and you're going to go with the custom firmware, don't ask me how to set it up, please. Because while I have set up quite a few of the things on it, there was an awful lot of trial and error and an awful lot of, well, I can't remember how I did most of it. I can't remember what I got from where. So really, Google it, because I won't be able to answer technical questions, because I won't remember. Okay, that's about all I've got to say about that. If you want to see how to install the custom firmware, link to Retro Rob's video down below. He does a very good job of explaining it. That'll do. Right, thank you for watching.
What do you mean, subscribe to his Patreon? I already paid for breakfast. What more does he want? What? Oh, seemed he wasn't invited. Oh, I suppose I could eat his as well.